perimenopausal athletes and beyond masterclass series. We're bringing experts from female physiology, training, nutrition, strength, mindset. You got it. Today, I want to do something a little different. I want everybody to close their eyes just for a moment. And this is what I want you to do. Imagine having energy and focus all day long. Imagine loving your body. Imagine feeling more confident than ever before. Just imagine. Okay, you can open your eyes. All right. That is what Samantha Montpetit-Huynh, who we have today, is about. That is how she starts. That is what she's committed to. It gives me freaking goosebumps. So that's what she's creating with her clients, because that is really, is it, am I wrong? And welcome, Samantha.
Yeah. I love that. What a lead-in. No pressure at all. No. Well, no, I'd have to say absolutely. That is the goal for my clients. Cause man, I mean, didn't everybody who just did that close their eyes? Didn't you feel amazing when you open up your eyes? Like my face, I was glowing, I was smiling. And why wouldn't we want to do that? Right. So yeah, I love that. Thank you.
It's so powerful. So let me tell you a little bit more other than what her commitment to you is. She is a mother of two beautiful girls who are now young women, like forging their way in life and being strong, amazing people. She's the founder of SamCoreTrainer. She is the creator of Strong Body, Strong Core Academy, which is the most comprehensive online health management program available for women, specifically 40 plus, which is super cool. I'm going to say 35 plus, just because, you know, we could always start early on everything, right?
Yep.
She's been in the industry as an expert for over 20 years, which is phenomenal, leading women from feeling good from pregnancy to postpartum, menopause, and beyond. She is often gone to from the media outlets as the expert for print, for podcast, for television. She's a resident fitness expert on the Marilyn Dennis Show, which is a really popular Canadian national lifestyle television show. And we need to get into it because we have a lot to cover today. So am I missing anything that I should have said about how awesome you are?
No, oh, thank you. No,
Okay.
I can't believe it though when you say like I'm the mother of two young women. Oh my God, my baby is going to be 16 in less than a week.
That's crazy.
She's my baby, and then I've got another one who's going to be 20 in September.
We just celebrated my niece's 16th birthday yesterday, and I was gobsmacked. I didn't even know what to say, but anyways, that's how it goes. So it's just like,
exactly. Like, what the hell? What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to being in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, right? We just keep on going. How did that happen? I'm not exactly sure.
I don't know.
All right. So today we're going to get into, we know, this is what we know. Having been through this series, we know that strength is important. We have had it hammered into our heads. So we're not going to hammer it anymore. We're going to get into a little bit more about what do we need to consider? How do we, what are some cautionary flags that we need to know about how our bodies move and work, and specifically as women?
Okay, so I'm just going to briefly look at my notes. I have notes right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think first and foremost, especially now that we're talking about perimenopause, we really have to start paying attention to the little signs. Because come on, when we're 20 and 30, we can pretty much get away with anything, right? A majority of women come to me. They're not necessarily athletes, but they come to me because they're finally at a point where like, I'm fed up, I've got to do something. And a lot of them want to lose weight. And I've never considered myself a weight loss coach. And I still wouldn't say that I am, because there's always a deeper issue going on. But a lot of that is them not paying attention to the small signs. And so I think once we're perimenopausal, and certainly, getting closer to menopause, and there's little aches and pains and little things, and we just ignore it because that's what we used to before it'll get ready on its own. All of a sudden, one day you get up and you feel like you're 100 and you're like, what happened? So I think that's really, really important to really listen to your body. And, again, we get so used to beating our bodies up and we don't even consider that. as beating ourselves up when we're 20 and 30, but we can get away with a lot of it just because we are young and everything, you know, we have more muscle and we have more fluid in our joints and things are more supple, and we've got age and great metabolism, all that stuff on our side. But we know that we literally, when our hormones change, our bodies change, period. That is reality. We can try to ignore it and pretend it's not happening. But honestly, if you ignore it, one day you do wake up. Like, my knees started to bug me. And I'm like, what? Because in my head, even though I'm 50, in my head, I'm sorry, I'm still 25. I'm sorry. That's the way I am. And so I can't ignore these things. So I think that's, I would say first and foremost is not ignoring these little signs until it becomes to a point where, you know, you are like, you can't get up, or you're having to do this sort of thing to get off the chair, right? Because I'd have to say, because the majority, even though I say, you know, I focus more on women 40 plus, I do have a few women who are in their 30s who are in my program. And, you know, they're recovering from pregnancy and birth, and like recovering from pregnancy and birth. I mean, you did it not that too long ago, can literally feel like you're 80, right? I would say in overall, the most common aches and pains are hips, knees, and backs. Yeah. And that's because, and these are things that happen slowly over time, and they started to build, and all of a sudden now it's literally affecting their quality of life. And who wants to feel 80 when they're 40? Yeah. Not me. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And those things you mentioned, like all of us, like sometimes it's like, when did this knee start to hurt? But it's it started a long time before that, right?
Yes.
Our bodies don't just go, oh, like something's wrong now. It's triggered a lot sooner. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So it's like, you know, when people bend over to tie up their shoe and they throw their back out. Yeah. And then they go, and I say, well, what happened? Oh, I bent over. Well, it wasn't your bending over. Yeah. We bend over. That's what our hip flexors are for. Like, this is what we do. But it was incorrect body mechanics over time. It was crappy posture. It wasn't doing things properly. It wasn't you actually using your body the way it should be, again, because you took it for granted that it worked for a certain way over time. But you had the little, oh, you wake up in the morning and things are a little bit stiff. Oh, I'll just twist it out. I'll just warm it up and it's fine. So it's usually, it's months, sometimes even years of incorrect body mechanics and you not paying attention. And I would say, especially because you've got athletes here, and I'm sure somebody else has probably said this before, is that I remember when I used to only work with pregnant and postpartum women. And the first thing a postpartum woman wanted to do after was she wanted to go out, and if she was an athlete, she wanted to go out and run or sign me up for the first boot camp I can find.
Yeah. Like, get my body back.
Wait a second. I'd be like, wait a second. You just gave birth to a human being. I know, but wait, like you literally just like, what? You have to train for this. Anyways, I would always joke that runners were my worst nightmare. Because tell a runner she can't run, you might as well tell them, like, cut your head off and go, it's over. And I appreciate that. I understand, because for a very short period of time, I was a runner. So I did get that endorphin high for a little bit and I understood it. But the biggest issue I would say with a lot of, and I don't know whether they're professional athletes, I'm talking more maybe just, you know, people who do it for fun, is they don't cross train. Runners just run. Cyclists just cycle. And then eventually when your body starts going, you know what? Other muscles have to start working now. You can't just keep running forever without you doing some sort of cross training. Eventually what happens? Oh, my knee's bugging me. Oh, my hip's bugging me. Oh, it's this. Because all the other muscles that should have been helping you run better, faster, whatever it is, have not been working. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So I want to get into, it totally does. So we know we need to really have a diversity of movements. And what I want to know is, can you kind of tell us some specific exercises or things that you are seeing commonly among women that we start to do for like our hip angles, or how, you know, like so used to like tucking in our bums or something. Let's get into this. Let's see.
Okay. Let's do it. Oh, sorry. So I just cut my head off. Okay. So if you're sitting, especially since COVID, how's everybody sitting now?
Right.
Everybody's sitting like this, right? And so if we talk just about alignment, and I'm not sure if Julia talked about this in her session. I'm just going to adjust my camera right here.
So Samantha is referring to Julia, our amazing pelvic floor physiotherapist
Yeah.
on day 4, I believe, of the summit. And firecracker, if you missed it, you get it on the replay. You have to watch it. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, she's a wealth of information, and she taught me a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about just because we were business partners for quite a few years. So there are 4 parts to our core. Okay, so the foundation of everything I do with my clients is focusing on core. And Julia would already have told you that your pelvic floor is the foundation of your core. So you've got 4 parts to your core, though. You have your transverse abdominis, which is your deepest abdominal muscle. You've got your multifidus, which are your deep spinal muscles. You have your diaphragm, which is your breathing muscle, and you have your pelvic floor. We want to make sure that all 4 parts of your core, we call this our core 4, are properly aligned, right? So when you're standing, for example, you want to make sure the weight is in the midfoot and your heel, and that instead of your pelvis being tucked under, which is what most people do, right? They stand in a tucked under position and they're on their phones and like this all the time. You want to make sure that you back up your pelvis, your ribs are over your hips, and then you're in proper alignment. So everything is stacked. Because when you do this, and if you want to do this with me, Tennille, when you're standing in proper alignment, you take a big deep breath. Your diaphragm can expand and go down. Your pelvic floor can expand. And when you exhale, everything comes back up. So it kind of works like this. But then as soon as you tuck your pelvis under, which is what we tend to do, and I don't even want to say over time as we get older, because teenagers are doing this, right? Because how are they standing? They're standing like this, right? So now I want you to put all the weight in the balls of your feet, and I want you to tuck your pelvis under, like as if you're holding a wedgie. Now take a big deep breath. You can't. All the air goes up into your chest and we become chest breathers. So if we're not even aligned properly, we can't breathe properly, our core can't support us properly, and it's going to impact our movement.
Right.
And if there is any pelvic floor or core dysfunction, then if you're standing like this, you can't expect things to be corrected properly if you can't even stand properly. So if you're standing like this, and then you sit down, and you're exacerbating the same position because you're sitting on your tailbone, your pelvis is tucked under. Well, guess what? With all of this sitting that we're doing because of COVID, right? Our glutes are not even working anymore. Our glutes become shut off. So when we stand up, we go, oh, my back hurts, because your glutes want to work and they can't, right? Because they're so used to just hanging out there, and our back doesn't want to work anymore. So it really becomes a kinetic chain. So usually what I tell people is, first and foremost, we have to correct your alignment. So the standing, making sure that you're not tucking your tailbone under, that your tailbone is free when you're sitting and you're standing. Your ribs are aligned over your pelvis. You're aligned properly, and then you take this into movement. But even if, so you're asking me specifically. So because of this, because our glutes aren't working, people will start getting a lot of hip pain. They'll start getting a lot of back pain. And we also know, because our glute medius is what I'm talking about, usually are the ones that shut off when you're doing a lot of sitting or when you're standing in this posterior pelvic tilt. If our glutes aren't working, because our glute medius are responsible for external and internal hip rotation, if they're not firing, then what takes the load? Our knees do. So I would say most of the time when clients come to me and they've got knee issues, I start giving them basic, now for those, you probably don't, do you mind if I ask how old you are, Tennille?
I'm 43.
Okay, 43. So were you around for the 20-minute workout? No, you're probably a little bit young.
It was, it was there, but I was young when I was doing it. And
you were young. Yeah. So I'm doing basic things now with my clients.
I do the 20-minute workout now.
I think we're all doing our own version of the 20-minute workout. So just basic things like going back to basics, doing clamshells, making sure our hips are stacked and working these glutes, doing sideline bent knee lifts, doing bridges, just getting these muscles firing, adding bands, right? Doing things like monster walk,
Yeah.
right? And keeping and pushing your knees out so your glutes are firing. We need these things just to get our glutes working again, because we do so much of this. But quite honestly, what is so funny is that, I'll say this to clients, and sure, they'll do the work, but most of the work we always know is the simple stuff like pay attention to your alignment, pay attention to the way you're sitting.
Yeah.
It's the long term, it's that steady state stuff that's going to make the biggest impact overall.
Yeah.
Because you could do all the exercises in the world, but if you're not focusing on the rest of it on a more regular basis, it's just going to take you that much longer.
Right. So I have I have a lot of questions, but okay. Breathing. You mentioned breathing, and I'm really into breathing.
Okay.
So can you tell us, because we're as women so used to like, okay, let's keep it sucked in, and now we know that we have to get our ribs over top and have alignment, and we're not tucking it in because we can't breathe. Can you tell us how we can allow that belly to come out, or just tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay. So I'm going to walk you through the core breath. And so the core breath is this foundational breath that I'm talking about, right? And I love the fact that you said about the tucking in, because that's what we're all taught, right?
Yeah.
Is we're going to tuck and keep everything really engaged all the time. And when you do that, so if you think about, I don't have a balloon here, but if you think about a balloon and you constantly squeeze in the middle, where's the pressure going?
Yeah, up and down.
It's going up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have any sort of pelvic floor dysfunction, you're creating more intra-abdominal pressure onto the pelvic floor. And the thing is that we're always managing intra-abdominal pressure because we're breathing and we're moving and we're doing all kinds of things. But the thing is we want to manage it. We don't want to keep it restricted and putting too much pressure on other areas, right? Things need to flow. So, so I'm going to go back to the standing and adjust my camera again.
Perfect.
Just so I can show you. So, is that okay?
Yeah, it was perfect before. I could totally see everything.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
sorry.
Good.
Okay. Oh, but now it's sideways. Oh my God. I'm looking at it. It's driving me crazy. Okay. So when most people think, okay, I'm going to tuck under and I'm going to suck in my belly, actually what you do is you create more pressure on the lower part of the abdominals, right?
Right.
So if you back up your pelvis, so what I say to people is bring your perineum, which is the space between your vagina and your anus, bring your perineum in between your ankles.
Right.
Okay. And then soften your ribs, right? And blossom your butt cheeks. Oh. Now, when you do that, if there's other people who are doing this as doing this while they're watching me, you might feel like people say, oh, I feel like I'm falling forward. But when you're so used to standing like this, and then you correct your alignment, your body's going, what the hell? And it's almost like your proprioception is going, bing, 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 bing. I don't understand this, right? So that's why it's really important to do it in front of a mirror. You also might feel that your back, so your erectors actually start working, which is not a bad thing, people. Right. So if we're in proper alignment, and when you back up your pelvis, you should feel your lower abdominals, your TA turn on. Yeah. You should feel like this, just a very gentle band of tightness across your lower abdominals, right? And you're not doing this by sucking in. You're just doing this by being aligned properly. Right. Right? Because our TA is supposed to support us. Now, maintaining this position, okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to sit down and you're going to try and maintain that same positioning. So you're going to keep your tailbone free. And what I usually say is pull the flesh away from your butt cheeks. Okay, actually, I'm going to do it. I'll show you this way. So you're not going to be like this. You're going to keep your tailbone free. Pull the flesh away from your butt cheeks so you're sitting on your two sit bones. And you're going to keep your ribs soft. You're going to put one hand on the side of your rib cage and the other hand on your belly. And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine, so we're going to start this breathing, this core breathing, and it starts with the diaphragm first. And remember, we have to be properly aligned so everything can move properly. So you're going to inhale and you're going to expand sideways into your rib cage and let the overflow go into your belly. And then you're going to exhale, bring the ribs back down, and the belly will naturally draw in. You're not pulling the belly in. It just happens with the exhale. You're going to inhale, breathe sideways into your ribs, and imagine your ribs are like an umbrella. And then the overflow goes into your belly. Exhale, close your umbrella, let the belly naturally draw in. Do it one more. Inhale and breathe sideways, and imagine you're filling up a cylinder. Exhale, let the belly naturally draw in. Now continue to do this. Now I encourage you to close your eyes when you're doing this, Tennille, and anybody else who's watching. So continue to breathe like this. So inhale and breathe sideways. You can imagine that your ribs are like floating plates. There's different cues that I use with clients. Exhale, let the plates come back down to resting. Now to continue to breathe this way, sideways into your rib cage. And while you breathe like this, I just want you to bring an awareness to your pelvic floor. Just an awareness. So breathe sideways into your ribs. Exhale, let the ribs gently come back down to resting. Now, as you continue to breathe like this, I want you to see the opening of your labia. And at the opening of your labia, you're going to see a blueberry. So continue to breathe sideways, open up the rib cage. Exhale, now I want you to gently pick up that blueberry. Inhale, let the blueberry go, open up the ribs sideways. Exhale, gently pick up the blueberry, close the rib cage. Inhale, breathe sideways, open up the rib cage, let the blueberry go. Exhale, pick up the blueberry, close the ribs. Now continue to do this. You're going to inhale and breathe sideways, let the blueberry go. Exhale, pick up the blueberry, and then I want you to, when you exhale this time, I want you to imagine you're blowing out a candle across the room. So now let everything go. Feel a heaviness in your perineum, like almost spread your perineum over the chair as you inhale sideways. Exhale, pick up that blueberry. Let the ribs close. Inhale, release, a big inhale. Let the blueberry go. Expand sideways into your rib cage. Exhale, pick up your blueberry, blow out the candle.
It's a lot of visualization.
I know.
Okay.
And I literally gave you guys the Cole's notes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do struggle with, okay, so I'm opening up my rib cage. And then, because I did this a lot when I did it in person, I would do it a lot and I would be holding their, ribs and breathing sideways. And then as soon as I tell them to pick up the blueberry, they would stop breathing. And I was like, wait a second, no, you need to, because you're starting to add on layers because we're not used to like literally just sitting and breathing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember being at a session at CanFit Pro years ago that was run by, she was either a yoga instructor or a Pilates person. And she said, the biggest problem with people and back pain is they don't know how to breathe.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
Oh, now my camera is like all sideways. Oh my goodness.
Well, and I just want to say, because I just want to let everybody know, I was a professional athlete. I have all these accolades of, my athleticism. It's beautiful. And it takes me so much to figure it out. And so I want to encourage people to just stay in a place of curiosity in this. And you must constantly be telling women about this. It's like, don't be judging if you can't figure out where the blueberries go.
No.
If you squash the blueberry. Let's just be in a place of like, wow, I forgot the, now my perineum, like, where did my perineum go? What am I doing? Like,
it's so funny that you should say that, because Julia, because we still teach together a couple times a year at CanFit Pro, and now we're doing it online. And she would always say, when we would do it in person at the conference, she'd be like, people, we're picking up blueberries, not pianos. Because especially if you're an athlete, you're used to doing everything like, So if you're doing, and just remember, people, like for those who are watching right now, the viewers, when I'm saying pick up a blueberry, I'm essentially telling you to Kegel. But I'm asking you to do it so gently, because if you're doing a Kegel, I shouldn't be able to look at you and know that you're doing a Kegel. If your face is all like,
you're not making jam here, people.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
But blueberry is just one of the very many cues. Like, so my other old business partner, Kim Vopney, who's awesome, she would talk about, like, imagine, that your vagina is like, oh my God, jellyfish.
Yeah.
Right. So as you inhale, like the tentacles come out, but then you exhale, it comes up to the surface of the water. There's all like sip a milkshake through a straw with your vagina. Like there's so many different cues, and we would get people giggling. But the thing is, if we could get you giggling, you're relaxed, you're more receptive to actually find the cue that works for you. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I found it. I know how to do it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sipping my milkshake, whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, I think that's so perfect. And what I want to say is this is just a beginning. Like you're getting a sense of who Samantha is, what she's about, why you can get to that place of just imagine this, because that's really what you do. So I have 3 quick rapid fire questions for you, because I ask them everybody, and it's just so much fun to hear the responses. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Kind of.
Give us one moment of courage.
Oh, definitely having my children and becoming a mother. Like, you're going to send me home with this person and have to keep it alive?
So I just said, just keep it alive. Just keep it alive. That's all my advice.
Yep.
Good job. Love you.
One more day.
Keep you safe.
One more day. One more day.
Oh my goodness. Tell us one thing that you are truly grateful for right now.
COVID bringing my family closer together.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough first 6 months, which I'm sure was for everybody on the planet. But it absolutely has made us so much closer, and I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Oh, it's not amazing that you can take that forward. And it gives me really great goosebumps, actually. Okay. The final question is, give us one piece of advice that you have to tell yourself again and again and again and again as you are in this life stage in particular, or one thing that you would tell yourself if you had known a little earlier.
Oh, well, if I don't do it now, I'm just going to regret it. And whatever it is. And it's usually me getting up, because I have a coach, because I really believe that I believe everybody needs a coach. I've actually got 2 coaches, but one of my coaches runs an early morning call every morning at 6 a.m. And I get up at 5:30. I used to get up at 5:30 to go to the gym, but now, and to me, that was worth it, right? Because I love fitness. But now I'm really loving this. And I know, and I literally lie in bed like half the time going, if you don't get up and get on this call, you're just going to regret it. And I don't want to, I lost my grandmother 2 years ago, and not just from old age. She was 97. And she said she had so much regret. And just because she didn't live. Right. There's so many things that she didn't. Yeah.
That's really powerful. And I love to leave us on that. So so there's a couple of things that you have, I've downloaded it, so I know that this is true. You have an amazing free gift for our listeners, and that is at-home HIIT workouts. Yes.
Oh, I sent you the wrong one, but I can still send that to you.
Or there's more, or there's something different.
There is.
Tell us.
There actually is. I have a free core foundation download. I have that too. Yeah. I do have that as well, and I will send you the link for that as well, so you can make it available to the viewers. And it breaks down what we just did, because if you are feeling overwhelmed, like most people do, even when we were kind of teaching it and learning it, we were like, wait a second, we really need to break this down. But it's a very useful tool, and it's something just practice until it just becomes automated, and then you don't have to think about it anymore.
I love what you've given us, our small things. It doesn't have to be big things. We've heard a lot about, lift heavy, add the strain. That's how you're going to keep, and those things are so valuable. But what you've really reminded us, and you're leaving us with too, is small. Breathe. Get back to the basics. Don't forget your basics. And I think that is so perfect. Yeah,
absolutely. That's the foundation.
Yeah.
We can't forget our foundations.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's gonna come up. It's gonna rear its ugly head one day, and you're gonna be like, what the hell happened?
Yeah. And keep it fun. So people can find you at SamCoreTrainer.com. Is there anything else that we should know about that we want to direct you to?
You can join my free Facebook group. It's SCT for ladies only. it's a great group of women of all stages and just, trying to kind of navigate this whole world of life and what we should do and what we shouldn't do. And
Perfect.
yeah, so that's a really, really great group. And I do weekly mini challenges in there. So yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you so much for joining us and giving us such a great half an hour of fun. I love it. I love it that we got up. I got off of my chair.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, that's what you look
My
like.
pleasure.
Yeah, it's perfect.
My
All
pleasure.
right.
Thank you very much for having me. It was wonderful.
Great. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.